Hi, welcome to our daily encounter. Today's devotion follows very closely with what we talked about yesterday. If you remember yesterday, we talked about how the Hebrew writer was really focusing on how the Christians that he was writing to needed to hold fast to what they believed in and hold fast to the confession that they had made. And there's always that propensity of falling behind, falling away, and walking away from the faith. And so the Hebrew writer is saying, don't walk away. And one thing that we want to focus on today is the idea of the importance of helping each other out in maintaining what we have gained through Jesus Christ. In our reading today in chapter 10, we have the Hebrew writer saying this in verse 23. Let us hold fast the confession of our hope without wavering, for he who promised is faithful. And then listen to what he says next. And this is in connection to holding fast to the confession of our hope. He says, and let us consider how to stimulate one another to love and good deeds, not forsaking our own assembling together, as is the habit of some, but encouraging one another, all the more as you see the day drawing near. So the Hebrew writer understood the importance of being with other believers in maintaining what you have gained, and being able to hold fast to the confession of your hope. It's always helpful to us to have others to encourage us, to build us up, to keep us going. Whenever we get alone, whenever we shut ourselves off from other Christians, from other believers, we leave ourselves in a very, very dangerous position and really set ourselves up for being vulnerable to falling away. In chapter 3, we read yesterday that in verse 12 it said, take care, brethren, that there not be in any one of you an evil, unbelieving heart that falls away from the living God. But then listen to the next statement that he makes. But encourage one another day after day, as long as it is still called today, so that none of you will be hardened by the deceitfulness of sin. So even there, he's saying that we need to encourage one another. We're in this together. We as Christians, we got to stick together if we're going to stick to it. And God has always set things up this way. God has set us up as people who were meant for community. If you remember back in Genesis, in the book of Genesis, when God had created Adam out of the dust of the ground, he created him, he breathed into his nostrils the breath of life. And then he brought all the animals before Adam. He named all the animals, but there was no one that was suitable for him. And God saw that Adam was alone. He said that this is not good that man be alone. And so he created a wife out of his side to be his companion, to live life together. And so even at the very beginning, we see that God never intended for man to be alone. And then you could turn to such passages as Proverbs chapter 27 that talks about how iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens another. That we need each other to sharpen each other, to help each other out, to make each other better. And of course to keep each other on track. You could look at Ecclesiastes chapter 4 that talks about 2 is better than 1. You know, if it's a cold day, you definitely want 2 people because you can keep yourself warm together. There's a lot of benefits to walking the path with somebody else. We have a phrase that we use, you know, there's strength in numbers, and that's absolutely true. We definitely get strength, inward strength, there's outward strength that comes from numbers. That comes from having a community of people together, sharing one purpose, one vision. And so we need to take advantage of what God has set up for us so that we will not fall away. To be able to be encouraged by one another, built up. You know, whenever you are involved in a group, there is accountability. Think about weight loss. You know, it's one thing to say to yourself, well, you know what, I would like to lose 5 pounds before the holidays. Well, you might or you might not keep that promise because you made it to yourself and it was kind of in passing, and it's very easy for you to push it aside and say, well, you know, whatever, I really want that ice cream or whatever. But when you stand up in front of a group of people and say, look, I'm making a commitment to lose 5 pounds before the holidays, then the pressure's on. You got to live up to what you publicly professed and said that you would do. And that's how it is kind of with the Christian faith. Whenever you are involved with a group and you're saying, look, I'm in this with you guys, I do believe that Jesus Christ is the Son of the living God, and I give my life to that belief, and I give myself to that commitment, then there's accountability. You've made that public confession, and there's that push to stay true to what you had proclaimed. And when you meet with other believers week after week, or maybe day after day, you're surrounded with other people who have faith like yourself. It's an encouragement, and it's also a challenge to keep on going, keep pressing forward. And so we need to, one, of course, not forsake the assembling of ourselves together, as talked about in Hebrews chapter 10, where we have kind of the picture of public worship. But also, at the same time, we need to always, as often as we can, surround ourselves with fellow believers, people who believe in the same things that we believe, that have the same worldview that we have, so that we can stay grounded. So that we can stay grounded in the truth, grounded in what we've come to believe to be the truth. So these are some things to think about. Hopefully they're helpful to you. I do thank you guys for listening in today. Hope you guys have a great day. Love you guys. God bless.